Well, it's time now for the GM report with your general manager, David Forst, right here on A's Cast Live. By the way, you looked good and a solid speech for Lip going into the A's Hall of Fame yesterday.
Thank you. It was a huge honor to get to introduce Keith for an honor that he was well deserved, and for maybe literally the best person I've met in 23 years in baseball.
I said, as I had to kind of, from Korak I had to fill in the blanks, as they like to say in the broadcast. I said, for Keith Lipman, normally these things we're talking about guys who accomplish things from a standpoint of this is how many home runs or RBIs or runs scored or what. This is why you're an A's, all that. We're honoring a man who his job was to help people live out their dreams, whether it's players, coaches, managers. He was a mentor. He was an ear. He was a manager. But his duty in this game, it's not about himself. It's always been about helping other people get to where they want to go. And it's not too many times we honor people like that.
100%. Yeah, like I said, he's so deserving, and there's not enough time to talk about the impact that he's had on this organization. I mean, I said yesterday when I introduced him, he mentored basically every player, coach, or staff member that has come through this organization in the last 30 years. And he'll tell stories about McGuire and Weiss and Steiny, and then all the way up to Chavez and Tejada and Josh Reddick. It spans every generation of player, and never made an enemy along the way, which is hard to do. And then, the impact continues. Like, you look in our dugout right now, our coaching staff, Darren Bush, Scott Emerson, Eric Martins, Marcus Jensen, every one of these guys worked underneath Lip, learned how to be a coach underneath him. And I can say, my first few years here, I learned so much from working with him, and then to get the chance to sort of have him as my farm director and trust his opinions. He's still the guy I go to when we were doing the manager search this offseason. He's still the guy I go to bounce things off of, to sort of talk through things. He's just an invaluable asset to this organization in every way.
And then Steve Vucinich. You go from Lip, who's 52 years, to Steve Vucinich, who's 54 years with the organization.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like Vusapalooza around here the last year or so, with the retirement last year. And again, talk about a guy who's seen it all, who's been around everybody, and who's impacted the organization in a lot of different ways. So it was nice to have both those guys out here yesterday. A great day. It was one of those days where I was happy to just be involved. And then I'm sitting over here on the field between Vita and Stu, listening to these guys chat. I'm like, what the heck am I doing here? It was a lot of fun.
And it takes me to a place I always like to go about this organization. It's loyalty and family. How long so many people have been a part of baseball operations. You think, seeing last night at the dinner, Pam Pitts, you just think of the people that have been here. I mean, yourself, how long you've been here, how long Billy Beane has been here. What is it about the A's that you foster that type of family atmosphere and loyalty? And as you've mentioned with your coaching staff, how long everybody has been with the team?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it started for me with Billy, and wanting to be around, wanting to work for him, with him. I know for him, it started with Sandy. And I think Pam would tell you the same thing. It goes back to Sandy, and, just an environment that you enjoy working in, that you feel valued, you feel trusted. And hopefully, Billy and I have been able to do that for all those people you mentioned who have stayed for a long time. And, we've had success. We've sort of weathered the cycles together and know what to expect. And I think there's a lot to be said for that stability and the continuity.
How tough is it to weather the cycles? Because losing sucks. You've said it a few times here on the show. It's just that it flat out stinks, and you're all about trying to win. Just for you as the general manager, and you got to take the questions, and people are going to write about you and said, like, what's that like?
Well, it's never the same. I mean, this cycles that we're in is different than, there were obviously years in 16 and 17 when we struggled. There were years between the ALCS in 06 and the division in 12 that, that we really, we didn't play up to what we thought we were capable of. So they're all different. You have the experience of knowing that you can come out on the other side. I think that is kind of what drives you every day and say, okay, we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know when players are going to mature and develop and get to where we think they can be. But we know we have the ability to come out on the other side. So it doesn't make the day-to-day any easier. And I know no one has enjoyed this season, and these guys are working hard. Look, every victory is a little positive you can take out of this year. But we know we have the ability and the people to come out on the other side, and we're sort of buoyed by the performance every night in the minor leagues, because that is what we're waiting for. That's what we're expecting. And when you look at those box scores and read the game reports of the guys in Stockton, Lansing, Midland, Vegas, there is a little tunnel, or excuse me, a light at the end of that tunnel.
We're all still shocked. I had it in my third inning hit a few days ago. Denzel Clarke. I just couldn't wait. Back-to-back home runs. Like, that just doesn't happen. Then it came on Twitter. It's never happened in pro ball before. Now, if it's happened at a high school or a college or whatever, you were there for one of them. How is it possible to 2 days? Because there's something quirky that has to always go on.
Yeah.
2 days in a row?
So the first night, hit the ball down the left field corner, and it kind of rattled around and just got past the left fielder. It was kind of what you would expect. The second night when I was there, I mean, he smoked a ball out to the 407 sign, and the center fielder went after it. And I swear it didn't get that far away from the center fielder. And man, Denzel just kept running. He was flying. And he just beat the throws. I mean, center fielder went, got it, relayed it into shortstop, relayed home. He just beat it and ran across the plate standing up. I mean, his speed is really something.
So now that we have gotten through the whole, which I think is really good for baseball, I know it's tough for you guys, but we've gotten through putting baseball on the map in a month where we have no other sports. That's All-Star Game, Home Run Derby, trading deadline, futures game. Baseball was front and center. Now we don't have the waiver wire process anymore. So this now allows you to go out and see your own play. You're so worried about everybody else's players. Now you're able to go see your players.
Yeah, I got to Lansing for a couple days last week, which was nice. I actually hadn't been there since they've been our affiliate. So spent some time there. I'm going to get to see the Midland guys play this week, and I'll get out hopefully to Vegas and Stockton again, and maybe even down to Arizona to see those kids. So it is a nice time of year to go see our own players, make sure we have our evaluations in order and know what we have going into the off season. And now also, with the schedule the way it is and the draft, on top of everything else, I'll probably get out and see some of next year's amateurs to get a little bit of head start and help out Eric and the scouting stuff.
So what are some names that you think that you look at maybe next year that for our audience could say, okay, I'm going to start checking those box scores? Who are some guys that you think could be just not the future, but that could be in spring next year and potentially help here next season?
Yeah, well, there's a couple guys in Vegas, I think, who are really close. I mean, certainly the two guys we got in the Yankees trade, JP Sears, who's pitching the big leagues, and Ken Waldachuk. I think both guys are basically knocking on the door and just waiting for an open spot. Cal Stevenson, who's gone a little bit under the radar, we got for Christian Bethancourt, has been on fire in Vegas, and I think we'll probably get an opportunity soon to see what he can do up here. So there's a couple guys there, in addition to the guys we've already seen who may have an impact. After that, the group is in Midland that is pretty exciting. I mean, Zach Geloff, Tyler Soderstrom, and Jordan Diaz are lighting up the box score on a regular basis. And I think once you're in Double-A, it's really easy for us to picture you in the big leagues. It's just a step away. So those guys are exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing them this week. And then there's a group of pitchers there as well, with Hogan Harris, who's finally healthy, pitching well. Luis Medina came over in the Yankee trade. JT Ginn is back healthy and pitching. Jeff Criswell's doing a nice job. So there's a group of arms there as well that are making progress and who, to your point, will probably come into spring training next year looking to show the big league staff what they can do.
And a philosophy that you guys have had that not every other team, it's kind of the big bone of contention with the CBA was, well, I got this great player, but I'm not going to bring him up because we don't have to pay him. And that's not been your philosophy. You guys feel if a guy can play, get him up here and let's go.
For sure. I can't think of an example in my time here where we've held someone back for whether it's service reasons or whatever. If you're ready, you're ready. Let's go. I mean, going all the way back to, we put Trevor Cahill and Brett Anderson in the rotation out of spring training when they were 20 years old because they earned it. They were ready. So yeah, any of these guys who proves it, who does it on the field, is ready to be here, I think, we'll get them. I've talked all year about how we're sort of balancing right now the young players and the veteran guys who can contribute right now and help us win games on a nightly basis. Like, the scales are tipping a little bit, and we're ready to start seeing some of these young guys.
I get this question. I'm sure you get it. You got a lot of catchers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got a lot of catchers. As of right now, you only play one. I know you can DH somebody, but you're not training these kids to be DHs.
Right.
So you want them to be catchers, and you got Murph, who's 27, in his prime. What are you going to do with all these catchers?
Well, we're going to DH some of them, and we're going to catch some of them.
Anybody play short or –
No, it's file it under good problems to have for now, and we'll have to figure it out. I mean, Shea's done an outstanding job. I didn't mention him earlier as far as guys who are ready, but obviously you have the year he has. You go out and win the MVP of the Futures game. Like, he's ready to go. Like, I hope to see him here, get him some ABs, some time behind the plate, and see what he can do sometime this season. But Shea's been outstanding. Tyler's playing some first base. He's going to go back and forth between catching and first base, but reality is his catching's getting really good. So I appreciate that he's worked at that. And then behind all these guys, you've got our first round pick this year, Daniel Susak, who we absolutely believe is a major league catcher. You don't draft a guy at 19 overall if you don't think he can play the position. These things have a way of sorting themselves out.
And he's a big kid.
He is. He fit in our clubhouse really well when he
walked over here. You're like, man, this guy almost looks like a power forward.
He is a big dude. He comes from an athletic family. Big brother was a big league catcher, and he's going to fit in well.
So when you start thinking about, like, what is the ultimate timeline for you guys? Let's just take the names out because every person's been different, but there is like a timeline for a guy who's picked in the first round and he is a college guy.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we had one of those guys. The last guy we took out of college is, I can't remember where he's playing now, somewhere down in Arizona. But it's been a while since we had a college guy. I think Daniel is going to play in Stockton the next month. And then, we sent Zach Geloff straight to Double-A this year. Like, there are examples of guys who move within a year to get on the doorstep. And with Daniel's advanced approach, I think, assuming he stays healthy, does well this year, I think, the sky's the limit next year.
How much right now do you evaluate what you got here? Do you think about for next year? Do you pretty much know what you got here?
No, I think the next 2 months are critical in evaluating what we have here. And again, we've got, some of the guys who've come up and down this season, I'm hoping get regular playing time the next 2 months. And hopefully there are more guys to bring. Some of the guys I've mentioned, some of the guys who've gone back and forth, we need to get them here and get regular bats. Some pitching that we need to see. And we need to use these last 2 months or 8 weeks, whatever it is, to figure out what we have going into the offseason.
Did you tell Seth Brown he and his wife are going to have another baby as soon as possible? Because the way this guy's swinging it.
I know. It's credit to Seth and credit to his wife for taking care of things at home so he can come here and hit homers. But, yeah, he's been on a heater.
I don't remember being energized when I had my kids. I remember being tired, and it was hard when I had twins. I don't remember, like, life's great, whack, hitting home runs.
I don't remember your wife letting you go to Chicago 3 nights after the twins were
born.
No
chance.
So, not that it's not easy, when you have a baby at home that you have to worry about. But Seth's done a great job focusing here, and he's been great.
Cole Irvin.
Yep.
Unbelievable this year, what he's turned out. Why didn't he go yesterday against the Giants when I wanted to beat those,
Unfortunately, we were not prioritizing that trophy that they gave out yesterday.
Just to rub it in their face, David.
I know.
You know how
nice.
much we hate them.
It's nice to beat the
You
Giants.
don't like them either. Come on.
It's also nice to make sure we get another 8 weeks of starts out of Cole and give him the extra day when he deserves it. He's pitched great. We got to take care of these guys and make sure we give them the rest they need.
I know. I hear you. It's just I can't stand those guys. But Cole, best ERA at home in the American League. Now that Frankie, all the talk with Frankie and everything, good luck to Frankie. And you know what? Also good on Lou. Lou's a good guy. He was
Mm-hmm.
always super nice to us here with A's Cast Live. Good to see him get out to a good start with the Yankees.
Yeah, no, I saw him come into that game yesterday against the Cardinals, and yeah, wish both those guys the best of luck. They were great. I talked to them after the trade was made, and they had, were so appreciative of their time here. I mean, both guys been in this organization a long time, but obviously going to an opportunity to win a ring, and wish them the best.
And I think of, okay, Cole, you think of Blackburn, and I throw Cap in there. I mean, that's a solid 3 right now. Evaluate, and then you go to spring, knock on wood, whatever. I mean, that's kind of 3 going right into spring, knowing you got a threesome, you need 2 more.
Right. And we've seen really good things, when our rotation is healthy. You've got those 3 guys. We've seen Aller make progress. We've seen Logue compete really well. We saw Adrian throw the ball really well yesterday. And I've already mentioned Sears and Waldachuk. I mean, these are the things you sort of build towards in a year like this. You sort of stack these starters, and that some of them are going to perform better than you think, some aren't going to perform as well, some are going to be healthier than others, but we're building this depth now because I think we have a chance to put together a really good rotation going forward.
What's best? We'll end on this. What's best case scenario how this season ends up?
Well, as we've said every time I've been on here, we still want to win games. I mean, that still is the best outcome at the end of every day because it's the most positive. It's the easiest to take things away from. We're still looking to win games. Along with that, the best outcome is we know more about the guys who are going to be here going forward than we do now. That's important.
There you go. It's the GM Show right here on A's Cast Live. Thank you so much for the time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Tony.